The State Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners is supposed to protect your pet from vets who may break the rules.
That's why I filed a complaint in the first place. It wasn't because I was going to get my dog back. My dog was gone.
Our investigation found it's not always easy for the public to see which pet doctors have been disciplined and why. Governor Greg Abbott reignites a debate on school choice, saying he hopes taxpayer dollars will soon help parents pay for private school. But what do Texans think? What new polling numbers tell us about how voters feel about vouchers? Texans, unfiltered, why certain Instagram filters are missing in the Lone Star State, and what it will take to bring them back.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. Texas parents could one day use taxpayer dollars to pay for their child to attend private school. On Tuesday, the governor signed a pledge saying he'll push for expanding parental rights when it comes to education. School vouchers are a key part of that pledge. The promise comes amid a nationwide push that's proving to be popular with Republican voters. Daniel Marin looks closer at how the governor's plan could affect parents, schools, and his own future political ambitions.
You used to go to AISD.
Austin parent Karen Rodriguez says she's pleased with the progress since her son transitioned from a traditional public school to this Southeast Austin charter school. She says the smaller class sizes made it an easy choice.
They just provide more opportunities than just a regular district school.
Parents get to decide.
Governor Greg Abbott says parents' choice is what he's all about this campaign season. That's why he's proposing school vouchers for any family that wants one.
Giving them the choice to send their children to any public school, charter school, or private school with state funding following the student.
The plan could have big financial effects on school districts that rely on student attendance numbers for funding. Mark Wiggins with the Association of Texas Professional Educators says Abbott's framing of vouchers as a parents' rights issue is misleading.
Let's talk about parents' rights under vouchers. Parents would surrender the right to run their child's school through an elected school board, the right to view curriculum, the right to demand open records, the right to accountability scores, not to mention federal rights for a disabled child, and private schools will still have the right to choose who they admit.
Vouchers have run into political opposition at the state capitol from rural lawmakers, both Democrat and Republican, who represent areas with few school options. Political science professor Dr. Richard Pineda says the governor is likely testing the voucher idea this election season in preparation for any future campaigns.
I think a lot of what you're seeing is the governor teeing up what his approach is going to be if and when he decides to run for the White House.
Daniel Marin, State of Texas.
Before Governor Abbott can think about 2024, he first has to get through this year's re-election campaign. He faces Democrat Beto O'Rourke in November. O'Rourke responded on Twitter to the governor's voucher announcement. He said Texas schools are already underfunded and that the last thing we need is to take tax dollars from public schools and send them to private schools. So where do Texans stand when it comes to vouchers? Last month, UT's Texas Politics Project polled 1,200 registered voters statewide. 45% said they support redirecting state tax revenue to help parents pay private school costs. 40% said they oppose the idea. There's a significant partisan divide. More than 60% of Republicans support school vouchers, but less than half of independents and just a quarter of Democrats say they want tax dollars to go to private schools. The voucher debate comes at a time when many Texas school districts are facing challenges keeping teachers in the classroom. Now, some real-life solutions are making their way to the state capitol. Jennifer Sanders looks closer at policy recommendations submitted by hundreds of Texas teachers.
Let us teach. That's the message from Round Rock ISD teacher Stephanie Stobie to the Texas Education Agency. She, along with 400 members of the Association of Texas Professional Educators, have crafted a list of policy recommendations for the state's teacher vacancy task force.
To say that I feel like a child wrangler, or that there's nothing left to give, or I don't feel valued. That's not a good thing to have in common with someone else.
Wednesday, they posted 4 specific recommendations to help quell the mass exodus. Those include developing leave pools and compensation for hours outside of the normal workday. They are also pushing for employing retired teachers to serve as paid mentors and making sure veteran educators like Stobie are paid based on their experience, especially after she saw new teachers' pay rates.
I understand we're trying to recruit. But when I take a look down that as a teacher with 13 or 14 years of experience, my pay raise was not as much. It made me feel not as valued.
The association's lobbyist, Andrea Chevalier, says some lawmakers are already reacting to the recommendations.
So I think what they're looking for is, okay, let's think about exact solutions. Is there a bill that should come out of this? Or when we're looking at bills, should there be red flags? Things that we might want to take out of a bill or put in.
She says school boards should also rethink the allocation of resources. Stobie just hopes to see change soon.
Teachers need time to plan, to collaborate, to look at data, to make informed decisions, not go through the motions.
Jennifer Sanders for State of Texas.
The state's teacher vacancy task force is scheduled to have its next meeting in June. A veterinarian is booked into jail on charges of animal cruelty after a special crimes unit witnesses and documents the case firsthand. But where are the records?
The board is the last stop. It is the only stop. They are ultimately the authority, the regulatory authority over veterinarians. There is no one else.
Why it's so difficult to get details about the doctors treating animals in Texas and the goal to improve the system. It's a tough time to be an influencer in Texas right now. What state politics and privacy concerns have to do with the loss of certain social media filters.